See you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, I love you back. Well, let me begin by thanking our unbelievable host. Tom Harkin is the epitome of what a senator should be. He's a fighter. He's principled. He's got values. He cooks a mean steak. My general attitude is whatever he's cooking up, I want to be involved with. And he has been a champion on behalf of people who need a champion in Washington for years. Please give it up for Tom Harkin and his wonderful white group. We are grateful to him. To the other federal officials here, Congressman Boswell, Congressman Braley, I see, Congressman Loebsack, who we're so thrilled to have, to Governor Chet Culver and Mary, to Lieutenant Governor Patty Judge, to my dear friend Tom Miller, the Attorney General, to Mike Fitzgerald, State Treasurer, Secretary of State Michael Morrow, and to Tom and Christy Vilsack for their outstanding service. Thank you all for your wonderful hospitality while we spend all this time in Iowa over the last several months. You know, this is an unbelievable crowd. But I think that all of my wonderful colleagues and fellow candidates here would acknowledge that everywhere we go, we've been seeing unbelievable crowds. I mean, we've had 20,000 people in Austin, Texas, 20,000 people in Atlanta, Georgia, and Iowa City, 10,000, 4,500 in Davenport. And what's inspiring is not just the numbers, but it's the makeup of the crowd, just like the makeup of this crowd. They come from all walks of life. They're black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Native American. They're young, they're old, they're gay, they're straight. They are Democrats and independents, and even some Republicans sneak in once in a while. I know this time because they whisper to me. They say, Barack, I'm a Republican, but I support you. And I say, thank you. Come on board. We want you involved. And at a time when the conventional wisdom says that we can't come together as a country, that it's no longer possible for us to rally around a common purpose or a common destiny, what a crowd like this tells us is that the pundits are wrong, that America is hungry for change, and whatever ails America, it's not with the American people. The American people aren't the problem. The American people are the answer. You are the answer in this upcoming election. Now, let's face it, some of the reason you're out here is you're just sick and tired of George Bush. I think we've got a consensus on that fact. People are sick and tired of an administration that treats the Constitution as a nuisance to be avoided, as opposed to the foundation of our liberty and the foundation of our democracy. People are sick and tired of an administration that seems to only side with the rich and powerful when it comes to tax policy or regulation or government generally, so that you got CEOs who are making more in 10 minutes than ordinary people are making an entire year. And folks are struggling trying to fill up their gas tank or save for their college educations or save for their own retirements. People are frustrated over the sight of fellow citizens standing on rooftops without water, without food after a storm. And most of all, people are fed up with a war that should have never been authorized and should have never been waged, a war that's cost us billions of dollars so far and thousands of lives, and has not made us more safe, but has fundamentally diminished our standing in the world. And that's before you even get to Scooter. My colleague Dick Durbin, he pointed out that even Paris Hilton got some jail time. But it's indicative of an administration that doesn't believe in the rule of law, at least when it applies to itself. So we understand the frustration. And And change in America is going to begin when we get Bush and Cheney out of office, when they are on their way back to Crawford, Texas, or wherever else that they're going. But what we also have to acknowledge is that change of the sort that's going to be needed to bring about the bold changes that Tom Harkin talked about is going to require more than just a change in parties in the White House. Now, if we win an election but we don't change our politics, then we are not going to be able to bring about the kind of change that's absolutely necessary. I mean, think about it. We've been debating the idea of universal health care for decades now, through Democratic and Republican administrations, and we have not made it happen. And you know why? Because the drug companies, the insurance companies spent $1 billion over the last decade spending it on lobbyists to block reform from happening. And if we are going to create universal health care this time, then we've got to overcome that politics. We have been talking for decades about freeing ourselves from our dependence on foreign oil. But each and every year, the oil companies and the gas companies and the auto companies have blocked the kind of reform that is necessary. If we are going to make a change, we are going to have to transform how politics is done in Washington. I know there's some who see politics just as a game, but it is my attitude that it is not enough just to look for who can play the game best. We have to bring an end to the game playing. The times are too serious. The stakes are too high. We need a fundamental change, and that is the reason that I'm running for the presidency of the United States of America. You know, a while back I had what I considered maybe one of my best days on the campaign trail. I traveled to California, and I woke up in Oakland, California at 5 in the morning, and I went to the home of a woman named Pauline Beck. She was a home care worker, a member of the Service Employees International Union, SEIU. And they had organized for us, and I think all my colleagues here participated in this, walk a day in the shoes of one of the members. And Miss Beck, she is 61 years old, and she's raising 2 foster kids who don't have a family of their own. And after waking up and making them breakfast, make sure they're ready for school, we went to her full-time job, which she does each and every day, which is to look after an 87-year-old amputee named John Thornton. And we scrubbed floors, and we made beds, and we helped him with his clothes, and made him breakfast. And, you know, listening to this woman talk about her life and the hardships of those life, this humble woman without a trace of self-pity, just hoping that maybe she could get a little more pay to take care of those kids. Just hoping maybe that she might have a little more security for her retirement. Just hoping that maybe once in a while she could get a day off to rest a tired back or rest some weary feet. It reminded me of the reason that all of us are involved in politics, the reason all of you are here. And that's because politics is not just about power, it's also about principle. That politics isn't just about maneuvering and tactics, it's a mission. And when I heard Miss Beck was just happy to be of service to somebody, I was reminded about why I had gotten involved as a community organizer over 2 decades ago. And that's the kind of spirit that we have to restore to the Democratic Party, and that's the kind of spirit that we've got to restore in Washington if we're going to bring about the kinds of changes that are needed in this country. That is what we need. But now, when I talk like this, sometimes people roll their eyes. They say, "Oh, he's talking about hope again. He's so naive. He's a hope monger. He's a hope peddler." I stand guilty as charged. I stand guilty as charged. I am optimistic about the future. And I'm optimistic because all of you. You see, I know that people think that my hopefulness comes from a lack of experience. And I haven't entirely gotten this argument. I'm confused by it since I've been in public service for over 2 decades as a community organizer and as a civil rights attorney, as a law professor, a state senator, a U.S. senator. But I came to realize what they really mean is you haven't been in Washington long enough.